If you're someone who's comfortable buying used and refurbished tech products, the iPhone 15 Pro Max offers the best value proposition in the 2025 iPhone market at around $750, as the cost to feature ratio that this phone will give you is simply the best in every department. So let's step through this phone's key characteristics and also compare it to the latest 16 Pro Max, which is one of the most incremental updates the iPhone has ever seen, and talk about why the 15 Pro Max has the greatest value of any iPhone in 2025. The 15 Pro Max features a 6.7-inch OLED 120Hz ProMotion display with very thin bezels, and ever so slightly curved glass near the edges of the phone where the glass meets the titanium sides. It can get very bright, all the way up to 2000 nits when outdoors. It's sharp, bright, spacious, and as smooth as can be. There really is something very premium feeling about the combination of 120Hz, the way the edges of the glass are smooth, and the very high brightness levels. The only tangible advantages the latest 16 Pro Max has in the display department is a little bit more real estate with a slightly larger 6.9-inch display with a bit thinner bezels, and its ability to get slightly dimmer than the 15 Pro Max, all the way down to 1 nit for when you're in the dark. But other than these two differences, you're fundamentally looking at the same display on the 15 Pro Max that you get on the 16 Pro Max. In terms of cameras, the 15 Pro Max features a 48 megapixel main lens, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide lens, and a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. The 48 megapixel main lens takes gorgeous high-resolution photos and videos and does a very good job in a wide variety of lighting conditions. I feel like I couldn't take a bad photo with this phone if I tried, which is one of the best things about it. With Apple's default camera settings, in most shooting scenarios, the 16 Pro Max's camera results are pretty much identical. This being said though, the area of cameras is really one of the only areas where the latest 16 Pro Max has some tangible advantages over the 15 Pro Max. If you're someone who's particular about the way your photos look, or if you take a lot of slow motion videos, as the 16 Pro Max features Apple's second-gen photographic styles, which gives you a lot more granular control over the way your photos will look. You still get styling options on the 15 Pro Max, it's just not as extensive. And the 16 Pro Max can also shoot 4K video at 120 frames per second, as opposed to the 15 Pro Max's maximum 1080p video quality for 120 frames per second videos, making for noticeably crisper slow motion videos on the 16 Pro Max. In terms of the other lenses, while the 15 Pro Max has a 12 megapixel ultra-wide lens, the 16 Pro Max has a 48 megapixel ultra-wide lens as well. But with the default settings, the difference actually isn't that noticeable when compared to images from the ultra-wide lens on the 15 Pro Max. The telephoto lenses on the 15 Pro Max here and on the 16 Pro Max are the same, both offering optical 5x zoom with a maximum 25x digital zoom. And by the way, in terms of the front-facing camera, it's 12 megapixels on the 15 Pro Max and also 12 megapixels on the latest 16 Pro Max. I think most people in a typical day's use won't use the new camera features the 16 Pro Max brought about. So unless you have a specific use case in mind for any of these new features, chances are the 15 Pro Max is going to provide more than enough camera quality and camera options for you. The 16 Pro Max does feature the new touch-sensitive and clickable camera control button that allows you to quickly open up the camera app, snap photos and videos, and adjust camera options. However, it's just a shortcut button and doesn't actually add any new features. So for most people, this isn't going to be a huge deal either. And regardless of which iPhone you're currently using, you're going to need a safe and reliable way to keep it charged up, and that's where today's sponsor, Taurus, comes in. The PolarCircle wireless charger lets you safely and elegantly wirelessly charge your iPhone using Qi2 certified MagSafe at 15 watts. Many wireless chargers can overheat and end up damaging your iPhone's battery, but thanks to the PolarCircle's built-in cooling fan and cooling plate, your battery is protected. It also features a 360-degree versatile stand, which allows you to charge your iPhone while it's standing in a vertical or horizontal orientation, which is perfect for multitasking. It uses an 11N magnetic force, ensuring it'll remain securely aligned for hassle-free charging. And the Taurus IceNano FoldPro 30-watt fast charger is one of the sleekest wall chargers I've ever seen, with its crystal clear ice-like aesthetic and its super compact mini size that's 40% smaller than Apple's 30-watt charger. It supports impressively low temperature charging thanks to its superconducting fin design that enhances airflow for better heat dissipation. It also features fireproof VO-grade material to ensure safe charging. And the Taurus IceFlow USB-C cable supports up to 60-watt fast charging, and it supports low temperature charging thanks to the zinc alloy casing and Taurus's own Tora-Ison technology. They're also very durable thanks to stainless steel terminals within the cable, making it harder and less prone to breakage. Not to mention it's compatible with virtually all USB-C devices, including phones, laptops, and tablets. So if you want to outfit your iPhone with some incredible charging accessories, check out the link in the video description down below. Big thanks to Taurus for sponsoring this video. So in terms of processing power and RAM, the 15 Pro Max features the A17 Pro chip with 8 gigs of RAM. It goes without saying that a one generation old pro-grade SoC with 8 gigabytes of RAM ensures more than enough power for any task you throw at it, and guarantees at least 6 to 7 years of major iOS update support. The newest 16 Pro Max has the one generation newer A18 Pro chip and the same 8 gigabytes of RAM. And quite possibly one of the most insane facts that a lot of people outside the tech world don't realize is the fact that the iPhone 15 Pro Max fully supports Apple Intelligence, which, if you've seen any of the advertisements for the iPhone 16 series, is the main feature Apple is using to advertise the new iPhone 16s. Yeah, that feature, it's fully available on the 15 Pro Max and the 15 Pro, because the 15 Pro series iPhones in particular have 8 gigabytes of RAM, just like all the iPhone 16s have. And Apple deemed that its A17 Pro chip is powerful enough to run the language learning models needed for Apple Intelligence. I can't think of another time where the biggest feature Apple is using to advertise their latest iPhones is fully available on some of the previous generation iPhones. It's kind of wild. And this just makes the 15 Pro Max all the more compelling. The only Apple Intelligence feature that the 16 Pro Max has that the 15 Pro Max lacks is visual intelligence, which is accessed by pressing and holding on that new camera control button, and it'll give you a summary of whatever you pointed at. But literally every other Apple Intelligence feature is here on the 15 Pro Max. Now, Apple Intelligence in and of itself is pretty unuseful at the moment, but that's a story for a different day. And at the very least, you have it on the 15 Pro Max, and as Apple hopefully improves it with future software updates, you'll be able to take advantage of it. In terms of design, it's as premium as it gets, if you ask me. As I mentioned earlier, it's got gorgeous brushed titanium sides with an ever so slight curve where the titanium meets the glass front and back. And the back glass has a nice frosted texture, just like all the recent Pro iPhones have. And this design is the exact same on the latest 16 Pro Max. Besides the new desert titanium color option on the 16 Pro iPhones and the slightly larger footprint of the 16 Pro Max in comparison to the 15 Pro Max, they look and feel the exact same. And finally, let's talk about battery performance. The 15 Pro Max has absolutely incredible battery performance. It's probably going to be this phone's best attribute for many people. It'll without a doubt get an average user through a typical day of usage and then some. It has a 4,441 milliamp hour battery capacity. Now, the latest 16 Pro Max does provide even better battery performance with its 4,685 milliamp hour battery capacity, but the 15 Pro Max already has such good battery performance, absolutely more than enough for most. As someone who's extensively tested the battery performance of both of these phones, the 16 Pro Max is better, but the 15 Pro Max is still crazy good, even for power users. So guys, when you add it all up, the 15 Pro Max compared to the 16 Pro Max is only missing very small things, with no even remotely essential features missing. And again, considering you could get the 15 Pro Max for around $750 in the used market, in comparison to $1,200 for a new 16 Pro Max, it's kind of a no-brainer if you're looking to buy a Pro Max iPhone in 2025. Especially when you consider that Apple Intelligence, which is the flagship feature of the new iPhone 16 series iPhones, is fully available on the 15 Pro Max. I think this is a result of smartphones in general being at a very mature point in their life cycle, where we don't see nearly as many big changes year over year as we used to. The screens, cameras, and processors in all modern phones are quite good and generally have incredible longevity. And on a year like this one with the 16 Pro Max, where Apple didn't change anything fundamental about the iPhone experience, and where all the improvements are very incremental, picking up a used 15 Pro Max is going to get you everything you need. This is not at all to say that all future iPhone generations will be this incremental. As a matter of fact, it sounds like the upcoming iPhone 17 series is going to shake things up quite a bit in terms of design, which I'm very excited to see. But if you're in the market for a Pro Max iPhone right now in early 2025, the 15 Pro Max is a pretty unbeatable deal. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course, as always, I'll catch you in the next one.